Hey, Battle Bill here with another video, and today we're going to get into some more Great League Go Battle League battles. Today we're going to showcase a team that I've actually shown on the channel before, and that's the Double Mudboy Strat. I don't know what it is with me and these double typing strats, but I had Double Electric, I have Double Mudboy. Maybe I'll come up with another double team sooner or later. But one thing I definitely recommend for Go Battle League battles, whether it be Great League, Ultra League, or Master League, is to have multiple teams that you feel really comfortable with using and you feel like you can win, whether that's going 3-2, 4-1, or 5-0, because you'll notice as you do more and more Go Battle League battles, you lose a lot of leads. Now, whether that's for mysterious reasons like Niantic, or you just have really poor luck and it's all your fault according to them, you need to make sure you can change it up and be diverse and ready to just flip to a different team and win with that team if you're losing lead after lead after lead. And with my Double Electric strat, I love it, and I will still use it going forward, and there will definitely be more videos on it. But recently, I've been seeing a bunch of Swampert leads, I've been seeing a bunch of Altaria leads, so I'm just like, this is becoming very difficult for me to be successful with. I'm not seeing Azumarill leads anymore. I'm not seeing Registeel leads anymore. So I'm going to go back to my Double Mudboy strat. I had a lot of success with it in the beginning of the season. It's what got me super close to rank 10. And then I think Ultra League is what pushed me over the brink. And I've kind of just fallen down to the 2700 range since then and just been stuck there. So we're going to revisit the Mudboy strat. And boy, do I have a set of 5 battles for you guys today. So let's talk about it as we get into the battles. The Double Mudboy strat, if you haven't seen my earlier videos, consists of Skarmory, Swampert, and Whiscash. And you might be thinking to yourself, hey, Battle Bill, if you run into Caleb's team, the Double Grass strat, your team is screwed. You're probably right. But at least I do have options with my team. I have Swampert with Sludge Wave, and I have Whiscash with Blizzard, on top of the fact that Skarmory is strong against grass types, and that's one specific team that my team's weak against. I'm not going to just completely abandon Double Mudboys because of one team, because not everybody's running it. But anyhow, let's get into these battles. My opponent here is running a Mew as a lead, which is interesting, and they're about to throw their Wild Charge, which I am shielding. It just lands there. And I'm going for my Sky Attack here to see if they're going to shield or not. I had no idea their Mew was running Wild Charge, but knowing how diverse Mew's moveset is, and the fact that my opponent decided to stay in, I kind of had to assume that whatever he was going to throw was going to hurt me. One other reason why I want to feature this set is look at that swap. That swap was beautiful. This entire set is one of the most satisfying and frustrating sets I've had in a long time. And you'll see why it's frustrating very soon. But anyhow, he swaps in Altaria, so my Swampert is just going to do as much raw damage as possible. So I'm going to go for the Sludge Wave. This is another good reason to run Sludge Wave on your Swampert, because at least you can deal about 40% damage to Altaria, because Hydro Cannon's resisted, Earthquake would be super resisted, and it kind of forces the Altaria to want to throw their charge move like my opponent is about to here. This is going to be a Sky Attack. I'm going to let it take out my Swampert, because my Skarmory has a bunch of health. I can over-farm on it, but now this is where it gets frustrating. I'm sitting here tapping on my screen, and it just starts lagging, and I lose that little chunk of health. That little chunk of health makes a big difference in this match, and I was so annoyed. I really need to start doing some of these battles live just so you can just get rage consultations of me doing Go Battle League, especially with the Go Battle lag. I'm so mad about it. But let's move on. I'm going for a Sky Attack here, and I did still overfarm a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked to. He shields on his Altaria and decides to go for the swap back in the Mew, and I'm like, that's great. There's no way I'm letting you get a Wild Charge off on my Skarmory. I'm going to bring in my other Mudboy. And I'm going to shield this because Mew has access to Grass Knot, and the last thing I want is a Grass Knot to come in and one-shot my Whiscash and completely take me out of the match. Ends up being a Wild Charge, so I know I can overfarm a little bit on this Mew, and now I can go for the Mud Bomb and take it out. So I'm going for this Mud Bomb. I have enough energy for another Mud Bomb. My hope is that I don't know how much energy that Altaria got from the lag. My hope is that I can get to this Blizzard before he gets a Sky Attack, and we CMP tied. And I was like, that lag came back to really bite me. He got extra energy he should not have had. I was just like, look how clean the rest of this match is. Like, just look at how clean it is. Niantic, fix your game, please. I beg of you. Can't be happening. I go for the Blizzard now anyway. and it takes out the Altaria, which is great, but like that extra Sky Attack makes a big difference because look at his last Pokemon. It's a Registeel. If my Whiscash has more health, it would have been able to tank a Focus Blast, which meant I would have gotten off more than one of these Mud Bombs, which meant I could have taken out this Registeel. And now watch what I pull off. Watch this. Look at that beautiful swap. That's the second one of the match. I played this perfectly. It's so frustrating that I lost this because of lag, because I played it so well. Anyhow, Flash Cannon goes through, takes out my Skarmory, and I'm just like praying. I'm like, is there any chance? Is there any chance I can get to 2 Mud Bombs here? I farm up. I didn't farm up enough for 2 Mud Bombs because I pretty much know we see him P-Tide here. So once I throw this Mud Bomb, it gets him in the red. You're going to notice the Flash Cannon's going to come through and take out my Whiscash. So it didn't matter if I sent the Mud Bomb right away and then farmed up a little bit. I wasn't getting to a second one to win this match, no matter what, unfortunately. But my opponent got really lucky. And I hate to say that. I hate to say that because I end up benefiting from lag later on in this set, but it's a different situation, and we'll talk about that. I could have actually won this match, which just is frustrating. But anyhow, next match, going up against Manu, and I'm running with Skarmory lead, and I run into a Jirachi lead. I'm like, wow, I ran into Mew to begin with, now I got Jirachi. Is everybody running their Mythicals all of a sudden? Because I hadn't been seeing this with my Galvantula lead. I don't even know how Galvantula would do against the two of them, but of course, they both kind of, to an extent, wall my Skarmory. But regardless, I swapped in my Swampert, he swaps in a Clefable, and I'm going for the immediate Sludge Wave because I was hoping my opponent thought that I was running Earthquake since I brought in my Swampert to deal with the Jirachi, but my opponent was smart enough to shield it, so I'm lucky that I can at least get off this Hydro Cannon, and honestly, I probably shouldn't have even been greedy. I probably should have just sent straight Hydro Cannons here. I was just trying to catch my opponent lacking. I probably could have gotten off 3 Hydro Cannons, so that was a mistake on my part, but my Skarmory can come back in, and I can essentially just farm the Clefable down. It will get to a charge move, but Clefable's charge moves that are usually used in Great League are Meteor Mash and Psychic, both of which do minimal damage for how big they are to Skarmory, because Skarmory resists both of them, like you see on that Psychic right there. So I'm committing to the farm down. I'm expecting, once this Clefable goes down, for the Jirachi to come in. I don't know what the third Pokemon is. So instead of me throwing my energy, I go for the immediate swap. I have 2 shields, and I know this is a Doom Desire coming in, and Doom Desire is resisted, but it does do decent damage for it being resisted, and the confusions start to add up. My opponent actually brings in a Whiscash to mirror my Whiscash, and the play here that's actually more energy efficient is you want to go for the Blizzard. If you can land the Blizzard in a Whiscash matchup, you can win that matchup. But you can also win the matchup if you shield your opponent's Blizzard too. So right here, I'm worried that my opponent's going to match my Blizzard with their own Blizzard. So I end up throwing up the shield, and I end up shielding a Mud Bomb here, which essentially costs me the match, unfortunately. But, I mean, I gave it away. Regardless, sorry about that. I go for another Mud Bomb here, and I do keep it close. I end up shielding that. But the problem is I shielded the Mud Bomb before, which means now I don't have a single shield, and they can go nice and comfortably for this Blizzard. After that lands, I actually go for the swap. I swap in my Skarmory, and I was debating committing to the farm down. I think that was my main mistake. That was really my main mistake. I should have committed to the farm down. The Whiscash was out of energy because it had just thrown the Blizzard, so that meant that it was going to get to another Mud Bomb at most, and that would have done such minimal damage, and that meant I could have thrown 2 Sky Attacks at this Jirachi. So like I said in my last video, even in Go Battle League, if you rewatch your matches after, you can realize where you make mistakes and where they would have cost you matches. My opponent played really well. I made the mistake, so I kind of just cost myself the match. I do get off another Sky Attack here, but I could have gotten off 3. Or I could have gotten off 2 of them, because what you're going to notice is if I didn't send it at the Whiscash, I would have been able to apply more pressure to this Jirachi, because she ends up charging up 2 Doom Desires. So she's getting to the first one now. That's going to take out my Skarmory, and then it looks like I have a chance. It looks like my Whiscash can come in and farm down, but once my Whiscash comes in, she throws another Doom Desire. She played it really well. I made 2 mistakes there. I ended up falling for the bait on the Mud Bomb, and then I also should have farmed down the Whiscash instead of throwing my Sky Attack. I don't know why in the moment I was thinking that the Whiscash had more energy. I should have known better. But regardless, starting off the set 0-2, so like you're probably wondering to yourself, why are you showcasing this set? you're sucking it up with the Double Mudboy Strat. I promise it does get better. This team definitely has a lot of important strengths, and I really learned how to play almost every situation with this team because of how much I used it in the beginning of Great League. Like, I highly recommend sticking with a handful of teams to use when doing Go Battle League and just getting really good with them, as long as they're solid teams. So this next matchup is a Registeel lead, another bad lead. Logic, swap to the Swampert as my safe swap in this situation, farm up as much as possible, and usually they switch out, because if you see a Swampert, you kind of assume, if I'm bringing it in against a Registeel, that I'm running Earthquake on it. My opponent apparently didn't, because I sent the Hydro Cannon through, and my opponent didn't even shield it. And I know this has to be a Focus Blast, because you wouldn't just waste your time throwing a Flash Cannon when you know your Registeel can swap out. So I shield the Focus Blast, and now my opponent decides to swap out and brings in a Azumarill. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe my opponent still thinks I'm running Earthquake. So typically I would bait with a Hydro Cannon, but I decided to go straight for the Sludge Wave, hoping that they think I'm running Earthquake. But it ends up going shielded, unfortunately, and it's really important in that matchup when you're running Double Mudboys, is because you're going to run into Azumarills all the time, you need to land that Sludge Wave on the Azumarill. It's so crucial to making this team work. Regardless, though, my opponent goes for a Hydro Pump. I end up shielding it, which was lucky, and now we get more lag. And I don't know how many bubbles he got in, because he definitely got more bubbles than I got in. I mean, I'm running Mud Shot, but you know what I mean. I got like in a Mud Shot, but there was like 2 or 3 bubbles that came through. So now I'm all frazzled on how much energy this person has. So I baited that shield, but I didn't want to stay in there and try to go for another Sludge Wave, because with that lag, I didn't know if he ended up ahead on energy and that was going to screw over my Swampert. So I go for like a nervous switch. I bring in my Skarmory to take that Hydro Pump from the Azumarill, and then he swaps in his Registeel. I don't know. I started panicking once that lag happened. But this situation actually ends up working itself out, interestingly enough. I go for a Flash Cannon here. I don't really know if that's the play, but I didn't know how much energy the Registeel had, and I want to throw as much damage at it as possible. You'll notice I probably would have been able to get to 2 Sky Attacks because I threw a couple more quick moves before the Registeel gets to its charge move, which it's about to get to right here. The Flash Cannon's going to come through, is going to take me out, and in the back of my mind I'm like thinking maybe it's better I threw the Flash Cannon and it has this little bit of health left, because I can try and farm down the Registeel. Well, I can't, because the Mud Shots, even though they did a nice amount of damage, didn't do enough because that Registeel had extra energy, and he gets to a Flash Cannon to take out my Swampert with all that energy that it had stored up. So you're probably wondering to yourself, how do you pull out this match? Well, even though the lag screwed me up in the beginning, I get a little bailed out here, because this last Pokemon, other than the Azumarill, is a Haunter. And a Haunter without any shields is not a very strong Haunter. Watch what this one Mud Bomb from my Whiscash is about to do. Deletes it. So I'm like, okay, great. I didn't let that Haunter do any damage. I probably could have over-farmed on it a little bit just to make this Azumarill matchup safer, but if a Shadow Punch or a Shadow Ball comes through from that Haunter, then even though it won't take out my Whiscash, it'll set me at a health advantage health disadvantage that his Azumarill would have just beaten me and I wouldn't have had a chance. So I had to take it out like that. Now we're just racing between him getting to his Hydro Pump on his Azumarill and me trying to get my Mud Bombs off to take out his Azumarill. We CMP tied there, so I'm going to go for this Mud Bomb. It's going to get him critically low, and now I just need to hope that the Azumarill's bubbles don't take out my Whiscash before I get to this next Mud Bomb, and you'll see how close this is getting me. One more bubble gets through, and I would have been done. I get to this Mud Bomb just in time, take out the Azumarill, and I am able to win my second match of this set, right? Or is this the first match I won in the set? What was this? This was a Skarmory on Registeel lead. Oh, this is the first match I won from the set. I lost the first 2 because first one, lag. Second one, I made crucial mistakes that cost me. This one, there's more lag, but I played it pretty well. Anyhow, getting into the 4th match, I'm going up against a trainer that's name is a bunch of numbers, and I'm not going to try and read that. But you'll notice something here. I win my first lead of this set. I get a Skarmory on a Meganium lead. So I'm already knowing I'm going to throw as many quick moves as possible on his Meganium, but he's going to go for the immediate swap. He brings in a Alolan Muck, and typically I always just save swap in general to Swampert. So when I make that swap, I really had to think to myself, because I'd rather have Whiscash in the matchup against Muck. Yes, Swampert will handle it also, but Whiscash has a super effective damage with the Mud Bombs, so I'd prefer to use my Whiscash in this situation. He gets the Dark Pulse, I let it go through. I get to a Mud Bomb here, and I think he lets this go through. He does. So you see how much that Mud Bomb does a solid amount. And I'm debating to myself, should I just commit to a farm down? So I overfarm a little bit, and then I change my mind, and then we CMP tied, and then I get annoyed because I was going to use this shield either way because I wanted to overfarm. But now I just wasted this extra energy that I stored up by CMP tying. So you'll notice I don't even swipe any of the bubbles. I'm going to do as minimal damage with this Mud Bomb as possible so that I can still commit to farming down the muck and just having some sort of residual energy. Even though his Meganium is going to come back in and finish off my Whiscash, you'll notice me having that little bit of extra energy ends up being really important. But let's wait. It takes a minute for his Meganium to come back in. It's in now. He's going to commit to the Vine Whip down, and if I didn't have that little bit extra energy, I wouldn't have been able to get to this Blizzard. Yes, it's going to get shielded, but he might have known if I didn't have that extra energy that this wouldn't have been a Blizzard, and if I would have thrown a Mud Bomb before my Whiscash went down, he might not have shielded it. So getting that shield was extremely important. Skarmory comes back in. My opponent decides to go for a charge move. I'm not going to shield it. Earthquake or Frenzy Plant are both going to be resisted. He ends up throwing an Earthquake with his Meganium. Doesn't do much damage. I'm just going to overfarm here. My plan is to try and have 2 Sky Attacks because apparently he's not taking out his Meganium for whatever reason. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, whatever he has in the back must be pretty weak to my Skarmory also if he's leaving a Meganium in this situation. So I throw the Sky Attack, take it out. We're at 1 shield apiece. And his last Pokemon's Hypno. So I was actually kind of surprised, especially because, I mean, I guess he didn't know my team, but that Meganium would have done much better in the back against my Swampert than this Hypno's about to do. And now I'm just going to continue to quick move down, and just, even though I had such an advantage, I wanted to pull a nice sack swap. I figured his Hypno had Thunder Punch on it, so I pull in my Swampert, he goes for the Thunder Punch, we get a bunch of lag, but I kind of just wanted to, like, you know, flex on him a little bit, just, I don't know, I don't even count my quick moves. I just estimate, and sometimes I'm able to pull off some really dope swaps. That charge move ends up not doing any damage, though, and then we get even more lag. Why is this happening? I don't like to benefit from this. The only reason why I continue to play this out is because I knew that there was nothing he could do to win this matchup. But lag in the first match literally cost me the match. So, like, if he was in a better situation and this happened, I would have felt really bad for him, and I would have tried to give him the win. It's hard to say and hard to admit. It really depends on the situation. But here, I was definitely winning. And now we're sitting here and waiting for my Swampert to send the charge move through, getting even more lag, and I'm like, there's no way I'm backing out of this. My Hydro Cannon ends up doing no damage, but he ended up deciding to quit, which I don't really blame him. Once I pulled that Thunder Punch swap off, even though I was going to win the match anyway, that Thunder Punch swap, like me swapping on that Thunder Punch, ended up making it even more of a win for me. And then the lag happening really didn't help anything. But that ends up putting me at 2-2 for the set. And I really just wanted to showcase the set. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but because I had some really nice swaps in it, come on, you gotta give me props. That was a good swap. And then the lag is so frustrating that I figured I'd show that off, because who doesn't love to see some lag rage? But anyhow, we're getting into the last matchup, and this is like the first Cherrim I've seen in Go Battle League. Cherrim just recently got a buff because of its quick move. Bullet Seed is now charging up energy a lot quicker, and it has access to Weather Ball, and I almost kind of forgot that. I remembered as he was saying the charge move that he had Weather Ball, so I let it go through. I knew it wasn't going to do too much, but I was wondering why he would leave his Charmin against my Skarmory when I'm clearly going to win this matchup out. But then I remember the Weather Balls come very quick from Charmin because these Bullet Seeds charge up energy so fast. So he ends up throwing another Weather Ball as we CMP tie. I shield it. I go for my Sky Attack to see what his decision is going to end up being. And I'm wondering how he wants to play this one out, because I could essentially quick move him down. He decides to shield it. And again, since this is a new matchup for me because of the Cherrim boost, I decide to go for the Sky Attack here, which was a mistake on my part. I should have just committed to the farm down, because I want to win out this lead no matter what. It's interesting how close this is, though, considering the fact that Skarmory deals super effective damage to the Cherrim and has a type advantage. It just goes to show how quick Bullet Seed charges up those Weather Balls, and how good of a move Weather Ball is, because it's not even stab from Cherrim. But I throw that Sky Attack through, and I kind of regretted it because I wasted the energy. I could have farmed down the Cherrim and had about 2 Sky Attacks to then throw out this Azumarill that came in. Luckily, though, I'm able to get to one of these Sky Attacks, and then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, maybe I can get a shield. That would be pretty ideal, because if I get the shields, then I can bring a Swampert. But apparently he swapped. Like, why is that a thing? Like, that wasn't lag. There was no issue or glitch there. It's a visual thing that, again, Niantic, please, I asked nicely, fix these things. I should know that he swapped. I should know. So at least in the back of my mind, I can start to make a decision on what I want to bring in instead of having to make it a split second quicker because of the fact that the Pokemon's already there and my charge move already went through. So I would like some more time to make these decisions. I should see that swap happening. Anyhow, let's get back into the game. I luckily still have Double Mudboys to deal with this Registeel. And I also still have my Swampert in the back to send the Sludge Wave at the Azumarill. I just need to get rid of his last shield. I throw this Mud Bomb, which I found fascinating, he decided to shield. I think he thought I had less energy and he would beat me to the next charge move. And unfortunately for him, he was wrong about that. So I get to another Mud Bomb. I think we CMP-tied though. So like, he was close, but worked out better for me. Registeel loses a majority of its CMP ties because of its bulkiness. So regardless, the Azumarill comes back in now. He's going to throw a charge move here that will take out my Whiscash. Him running Play Rough is interesting, which means I'm pretty sure he has Play Rough and Hydro Pump, because if he didn't, then throwing Ice Beam is better in that situation. And now I'm like, alright, that means he has even less energy, so I could definitely get to the Sludge Wave. I'm going to throw this. It's not going to take out the Azumarill all the way, but it will take out the Azumarill for the next part. And then you'll see me pull off something nice again. I go for another swap right on the charge move. I didn't need to do that either. I could have let the charge move gone through and let my Skarmory take out his Azumarill. But it's good to practice those things. He undercharged his Hydro Pump, which is why it doesn't end up taking out my Skarmory. But he must have just saw that swap and was like, alright, GG, man. You won this one on me. But I don't know. I thought I pulled off so many swaps in this set. I was really feeling myself. So I'm like, I got to post this on YouTube. Plus the lag is just so rage-inducing. So, might as well have as much proof of that as possible because Niantic loves to believe the lag doesn't exist. Overall, I could have been 4-1 if that lag didn't cost me one of those matches, and probably 5-0 if I didn't make that mistake, but mistakes happen in Go Battle League, so I gotta take that loss on the chin. But let me know what you think. That's a Double Mudboy Strat, so now I got that double strat, I got the double electric strat. Let me know in the comments what other typing you want to see as a double strat. Maybe I'll put something together. But I do want to really get my rank back up. So I know Double Mudboy Strat has worked well for me in the past, so I'm going to commit to some more battles with that. I might have another video just showing you more battles. Let me know if you want. I know you want to see the diversity. Obviously, I want to feature as many different teams as possible, but I also want to win, and I don't want to put out the same content. So like it's just got me like kind of just weighing my options. But I figured it's been over a month since I've gone over Double Mudboy Strat, so it definitely didn't hurt to see more matches on it, especially because the meta's changed. You saw that Chara matchup. That was a new Pokemon. There was a couple other new Pokemon in the matchups that we're not used to seeing. But overall, don't forget, please like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys all in the next video.